Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe or follow no matter where you're listening. Not only does it help us out, but you'll know exactly when we have another one brewing. Fellas, I'm going to be honest, this is the part where I ask what'd you think of the movie, but this is Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and I was fucking surprised.
Yeah, I feel like unanimously, this movie is amazing.
100%. You don't have to ask anything. I've watched this movie since I was a kid. It's top tier camp. It's so fucking fun. There's so much thought and quality. It's, like you said, it's surprisingly amazing.
Chandler, this was your pick, and man, thank you. This was phenomenal, actually. It's been, exactly 1 year since I watched a movie that I was pleasantly surprised beyond all reason. Like, last year we did the remake of The Blob, the 80s one, and loved it to death. It's just the fucking hard left into horror it took by also paying the homage to the 50s schlock. This is the same thing, but instead of going that left into horror, it goes left into Goof Town, and you're just like, yes, give me more.
Yeah, this was the second time that I'd seen this movie, the first being when I was probably 16 years old, and I thought, that was fun, that was goofy, I'll probably never watch that again, and then, it just started gaining a lot of hype, and I was like, let's get a rewatch in, that would be perfect. I'm so glad I did. This movie is delightful.
There's so much hair into what they do, especially based around the clowns and the clown settings. Holy shit. If those things, or you're in their environment, or they're, interacting with the human environment, it's just so fucking good. Just the colors, the styles, the tint itself, everything that we get to see that involves these creatures is fucking great.
All of these clowns look so damn good. The effect, the makeup on these creatures looks so fucking good. Chef's kiss to you.
Absolutely. We were talking a bit about it before the show, just getting warmed up, and the bits of actual horror that are in here are pretty much solely the clowns. It's a stark reminder of what this movie could be, but this movie just has the class and even intelligence, and even all the actors are on the same page. They know exactly how to give us that schlock, but also have that tongue-in-cheek and have that little nib of horror. It's we'll get to the plot here shortly, but man, if you haven't already, check this shit out. For real, this is a lot of fun.
Man, the lead guy, what's his name, Mike, he is fucking solid on selling you what you're going to get for the rest of the movie and the first 10 minutes of the movie when his boys are selling sexual innuendo ice cream. But he's just selling it oh, come on down and see Gumbo, the toothless fucking elephant. And his charisma is 10 on 10.
That line got me, not gonna lie. That line got me.
There's a lot of that, and I think charisma is a really good word to describe a lot of the cast. They're not only having fun, but they're not letting the fun show on their face. They're giving the perfect performance for the moment, and I have to call in particular, there's a group of ragtag 30-year-old teenagers and whatnot, but there's that cop, there's that main cop, the chief, and his name is Mooney. And I'll be damned if he's not one of my favorite characters just ever. I love him to death. Even when he's on his little death moment or whatever you want to call it in this movie, he still steals the show.
That's Dean Vernon from Animal House. Love him.
Yeah. I wondered why his voice was so familiar. He did a bunch of 90s cartoons too. I'm like, holy shit, it's that guy. It's like finding out who the voice of Colonel from Metal Gear Solid is. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's definitely got a voice for that. I can see that 100%. And man, you talk about charisma. He's got charisma for the character that he's playing in this. He understood the assignment. He's got to be that police chief, that sergeant who he doesn't believe anything that's going on. You're not going to convince him otherwise. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, get the fuck out of here.
Literally. Get the fuck out of here. He's not, he's answering the calls. He's like, everybody's just fucking with me. Everybody's in on this. The phones are ringing off the hook. People are being murdered. He sits back in his chair, lights up his stogie like our good man Arnold, and says, fuck them.
For real. But just to get things going, the movie kind of starts very stereotypically. Aside from the 80s cheesy intro, and that totally threw me off, by the way. I was ready to hate this fucking thing. But it totally subverted my already subverted expectations. You got these group of 30-year-old teens. They're all trying to get to make out point or whatever. Just the most classic horror tropes imaginable. But I think the movie is so intelligent in its own right that it knows we expect this stuff. but it delivers it in a way that it's not cheesy, it's not cliche, though it is, but it still retains that tone.
Bingo. It's almost like if you read a comic, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and they redid it perfectly. That's exactly what you expect. I've read it, I know what's coming, and then as soon as I see it, I go, hell yes.
And we get introduced to the main characters, and they're just like a plucky little couple. I think it's like Mike and Debbie, right?
That's Tobacco. That's his name, Mike Tobacco. But yeah, then you got the brothers. I don't remember their last name, something Italian, but they want to come in and sell you some ice creams. They have an ice cream truck that they've rented.
Get
These
your fudgy, get your fudgy wudgy lick-a-sticks. And I went, is that like poop dicks? What are we doing here?
I don't know, but those two girls are into it. They don't want their titties grabbed or nothing, but they want their fudgy wudgy lick-a-sticks.
I mean, everybody's got them preferences, and that's okay, but these two guys are great. Like, they play the class clowns, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, of the group, and they play the type of character whom we've all grown up with. We know people like this, but it has that, like, glazed layer of just goof.
Yeah.
I can't describe it any other way.
No one's mad at them. They're all like, oh, you get out of here.
Oh, you guys get, we're trying to make out here. Go on, you scamps.
Yes, you scamps.
Everyone with their pants down.
Just like getting blowies, but laughing. Oh, all right, give me a popsicle.
Even better. It's got like the guy standing on one side of the car you see from like the chest up, and they're like, hey, Mike, you want something? And he's like, no, I'm good. And he's like, what about you, Debbie? And Debbie stands up, turns around, wipes her mouth. No, I've already got something.
That's it, right there. And everybody's just like, all right. Which, in a sense, that's kind of like what we did the entire time we watched. Like, every single moment in this movie, it just kind of tweaks it in a way where you just kind of have to just like wag your finger at the TV and just be like, oh, you.
Yeah. And they set that pretty early on. Like with this, they see a shooting star, they pursue it. It's a big circus tent. The guy shows his charisma, lures his girl, Debbie, up to the tent. The tent, by the way, looks fucking super cool. It's got these like tentacle ropes. They're really neat. And before we get that, there's an old man, and he's from like Ghoulies 2 and shit. He's from a million things. Yeah. His voice is so good. He's like, go get this tent there, puppy dog. And then he loses his dog, and he's like, you took my dog, greased and fried. And then he gets electrocuted. I don't know, man. That whole fucking bit is just so over the top, and it works. It shouldn't, but it does.
Well, I'll be greased and fried.
Just everything that fell out of his mouth was gold. And I'm surprised Brady didn't make like a Pumpkinhead reference or anything like that, because like when he loses his dog, he just turns around and just shakes his fist in the air and just, God damn you, whoever did this, God damn you. Yes.
Yeah, like, I don't even know what necessarily happens to the dog, but honestly, okay, I want to go back and take a look at one of these gags. The farmer is marching around trying to look and see, what's going on with this circus tent, and we see the shadow being cast up on the tent, and it's moving with the same pace as the farmer, but it's this goddamn clown, a giant clown with what is it, like a giant mallet or something that's gonna squeak when he hits him with it? I love it.
Yeah, it's perfect. These clowns are from outer space, and like while everybody's fucking around and making out and stuff, like this huge comet just flies through the sky and smashes into the forest in nowhere, USA.
I think it's somewhere USA.
Anywhere, USA. Or just small town, USA.
You know what my favorite thing about this movie is? It's not my favorite thing, but I'm going to talk about it. You know what my favorite thing about this movie is? They don't make up any explanations. They don't use any excuses. We don't care. It's clowns from outer space. This isn't it. There's no reasoning for this. They just drop their tent, set up camp, and want to take over the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the movie did. I mean, the title alone, like, they know you bought the ticket. That's how the movie makes you feel. Like we're here for the ride. Let's just go. Let's see what happens. I'm fine with it.
Yep, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. What's it about? Killer Clowns from Outer Space. What do they do?
Title.
Cartoon shit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you read that and hate it, then you're just gonna hate it. Fine, whatever.
Yep. And that's something else. Like, their cartoon kills are so fucking good. There's only like really one or two, I could say, gruesome deaths. Mooney's being one. Maybe the pie being the second. The rest are all just fun.
I have one kill in particular that I really like. You got the one clown that's got the bicycle. He rides up to the motorcycle gang or whatever and is like, yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about. And he just knocks his fucking block off.
For real, though. Like for real. And that's one of the things I love about this movie, too, is that the reason why this thing works is because it does tap into actual horror elements. Like, all the setup is from horror movies. Like, every single time there's an encounter between a person and a clown, it's fucking weird, unsettling, and in any other movie you'd be like, whoa, what the fuck? But since you've bought the ticket to Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it just has that built-in padding of, like, not subverting your expectations, but almost making you feel safe, even though what's happening in front of you is actually kind of disturbing.
Agreed.
You're right. Like, you're kind of wrapped around in this world of like circuses and tents and clowns and all of these things that go along with that. You got the popcorn guns and you got the cotton candy. Like, there's not blood and guts and stuff everywhere, but you should still feel uneasy, and you do.
The fact that they can take cotton candy and popcorn and shadow puppets and things like that and turn them into legitimate horror scenes is fucking so creative. Like the imagination in this is top tier.
You're 100% right, and I absolutely cannot wait to talk about their party tricks.
Oh, that was my key word. What I've got here today from AleSmith Brewing Company out of San Diego, California. It's their Party Tricks IPA. This is a 6.8% alcohol by volume. This is a West Coast style India Pale Ale. As much as I'd like to say a bunch of goofy things about this beer, it's honestly pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot of party tricks here. It is a very solid West Coast style IPA. A little bit green, a little bit vegetal, very dry, not especially fruity or sweet. There's no cotton candy, as much to my dismay, but it's very solid. This is a very good, drinkable, traditional West Coast style IPA. Get one for $18 at your nearest circus.
Oh, nice. But you know what's also better than bad, which happens to be good?
Log?
Yeah. This movie.
Did we talk about that party trick? If not, we should, because it's great. When those two kids, they go into the circus and they start seeing what's going on, they discover that this is actually a flying saucer circus tent.
I was actually really surprised the guy wasn't just like, whoa, a big laser tag room. Hell yeah. Because that's what they just happened to wander into.
That's how you get me.
It was like they walked into the elevator and then they were on the Death Star and there's a clown over there like, Bozo, I am your father.
Yeah, there's some fucking actual weird shit. Like, in movies like this, you expect them to have, like, things kind of, like, gradually get closer to, like, the main characters, try to chase them slowly, build tension, but once again, they're in this, like, wacky environment that looks like a fucking paintball course, and they're just getting slowly kind of, like, creeped up on by these, like, bulbous clowns. Like, I don't know how to explain it any more accurately. They just look infected, or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. They have too much skin. They have a million wrinkles, and like the grease paint makeup is fucking icky. They look like dry but slimy, almost like a lizard. And they almost give you, because their clothes are super fun, super clownish, very on point. Their hair the same way, but their faces, they have like lazy eyes or these just unsettling smiles, and the camera has this way to like pull up on the face and just show all the detail that these people put into the animatronics of the lips curling away to reveal the gnarled, oversized, like yellow brown teeth with saliva drool, very like alien-esque.
Yeah, that Humpty Dumpty looking one just comes walking in like, let me see how clown you are.
Oh. Didn't one of you all say something? Isn't there some connection between these clowns and the trolls from Ernest Scared Stupid? Didn't somebody say something about that at some point?
100%. It's the same makeup crew. They recycled some of these masks with modifications for Ernest Scared Stupid.
Okay. I remember you mentioning it forever ago when we watched it together, but okay. Yeah, that's fucking Miak over there.
Yeah, they all could use a little bit of Miak, I feel like. They all could be called Booger Lips if you wanted to.
Dude, 100%. Like, you just got to be like, And they also get a bumper sandwich after they chase them down with the popcorn guns, which they spray at them. It's like homing popcorn and it sticks to them. They then bring
homing
to life
popcorn
a balloon doll
here
to track them with, and it's sniffing the popcorn. Eric, what's that scene that we love so much?
Oh yeah, so this is when they pull out one of my favorite party tricks. Is that the couple, they run out, they're scared, of course, fucking Rodney Dangerfield back there and all that. But they're like, okay, we can't really outrun him. What do? We gotta sniff him out, right? We don't have a bloodhound, so fucking dude pulls out a balloon. I'm like, what's he gonna do? Make a dog? He does.
Yeah, you're goddamn right he does.
But that's not the joke. The joke is the dog is sentient and hilarious. He fucking starts sniffing around, howling at the moon like a good old boy. And I shit you not, like, they get back to their car, and in horror movie fashion, the clowns are like on their tail somehow, but they're just led by this fucking balloon dog who's just racing out of the forest.
Okay, guys, I just had a thought. Okay, they scooped up that old farmer's bloodhound with a little net. Did they turn that bloodhound into a balloon? Is that what happened?
Is that what they did? The poor old rim shot?
Oh, no, rim shot, no.
Ain't nothing in that tent for me.
Oh, fuck damn movie. Damn you, killer clowns.
But yeah, they give him a good old bumper sandwich and drive away, and we get something that we've only brought up once earlier. The title crawl has Killer Clowns its own song, but we get what's known as the Killer Clown March as the clowns begin to wander into town, and that's a fucking banger.
Yeah, it is.
Well, speaking of that, we do have to bring up the music, because the music is so fucking awkward in the best way.
I have it down as awesomely 80s.
It goes way beyond that, because sometimes, I think even the composer was in on the whole movie too, because it would just sometimes sound like a cat just fell on a piano, and we're like, I get it. It's just silly and goofy, just like everything else, but also it just has that tinge of leeriness where you're just like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's like, it's goofy and funny. It's like a circus that's menacing.
Yes.
It's very dark circus. That's the best way to do it. And when you hear it, I know I'm a big D&D nerd. It's like Wild Beyond Witchlight. There's this circus on the outskirts of town that borders dimensions, and only the weirdest shit exists there. And that's what this music is perfect for. It's ominous, but it's alluring.
Yeah, I think the soundtrack is honestly great. Like, every time it like flared up, I was like, fuck, this is good.
With all those pieces together, I just like every single scene, I was just in awe. Like, every time somebody just had like the perfect thing to say with the perfect inflection to just absolutely keep this movie skirting along. It's barely 90 minutes. It flies by in a wonderful flash.
Talking about just the right thing to say. When those kids roll into the police department and the guy's like, I know you little fart. You hang out with those blah, blah, blah boys.
The whole dynamic between the couple and the two police officers, including Mooney, is wonderful because it has such cliche drama between the characters too, because like you have like our main dude dating Tobacco, but it turns out that one cop also dated her, so you have like this weird triangle thing. But also Mooney just hates these fucking kids. Like they're just like, you little fucks, what are you doing here? You got clowns in my town? Fuck you.
Dude.
Killer clowns from outer space, god damn.
Yes, they do the thing.
Go on, Mike, you're not gonna make a dummy out of me. You go ahead and make a dummy out of yourself.
They just sits down, crossed arm, lights a stogie.
Yes.
I like how he's just got that bottle of Jack Daniels hidden there too. Like,
it's not hidden. That's just where it wound up that day. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Oh god, he's been hitting the bottle. Be careful with Mooney today. He's gonna fucking bash you with a flashlight when he arrests you.
Oh no, you're getting mag lighted.
And he does. Like, they actually one of the clowns show up, and he's like, "All right, get in the cell." And he hits him with a flashlight, and he turns his head around like an owl, like 180 degrees. Like, why'd you do that?
And it's played for goofs, of course, but the guy that plays Mooney, he sells it so well. Like, you see the look just drip off his face into that moment where he realizes that, oh, that one trick that I had just didn't work.
Yes.
My trick was, I'm going to hit you with a flashlight.
It's just police brutality. That's
yeah. My trick is police brutality. It's just up, down. That's all I got to do.
Up, down. And I love that the way that you describe that the look drips off his face is flawlessly how it is. As soon as he hits that clown and its head fucking rotates and it goes from like smiley happy clown to that demented fucking ugly face.
Yeah.
He just looks shook. And then you just know whenever they come back to the station, everything's going to be fucked. And it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's like red clown shoes, like
oh, yeah.
I don't know what that's supposed to be. It's not blood, but it'd be a lot cooler if it was blood. But it's just like shoe prints all over the place. You walk a little bit forward and suddenly they're on the walls and the ceiling. This is goofy.
It's super goofy, but it's also fucking, once again, unsettling. Because like once we go back to the police station, by this point, the clowns have kind of just taken over. Also in the movie, it feels this way too, because we go from like being on the outskirts of town to like they're already moving in parade style. Don't worry about it.
You got them invading that little drugstore, and the guy working there is just like, oh, I don't know what to do. Guess I'll get zapped.
For a long time. Yeah, like not just the police station got run over, but like the general store. They got that poor clerk there. And there's like 2 or 3 clowns in there actually just shopping, making a mess of the place, but shopping nonetheless. And the guy just like biting his nails like, oh, what to do.
Guess I should call the cops.
Yeah, all these little vignettes of the clowns kidnapping and the parade and things like that set such a good tone because like we get a Punching Judy one. We get my personal favorite was the girl in the nightgown whose nipples you can see. That was great. But the clown is there and he's got a pizza and he's like, you got pizza for me? And then he just opens the box and the little itty bitty clown with green hair is in there. Like he fit inside a pizza box somehow. And it's a clown in a box.
I mean, he looked pretty down for those clowns. Like let's just be honest. Like that one dude with the pizza, he's like 6'3", ugly as fuck with a pizza. And the guy's like, all right. And two of his buddies show up. He's like, sweet, it's a party.
All right. Sorry, hon. Dudes are
I didn't know the gathering of the Juggalos was this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. While this party is happening, though, you do have Mr. Cop Man, whose name I forget. He's just Cop Man. He's trying to figure out some way to kill these things. He does wander back into the police station, like we've mentioned. He finds basically just a fucking fever dream. This place turned from a police station into this demented hellscape.
Oh, yes. And out of all the scenes, this one is truly unsettling. He can't find Mooney. He goes back into the office, and Mooney is sitting there at his desk. Now he kind of looks like Jigsaw from Saw.
Yeah.
With little red cheeks and whatnot. But it's blood running out of his mouth, which is super cool. And the clown, he's sitting on the clown's lap, and you're like, what the fuck? And this clown has ran its hand into his ass and or spine and is puppeting him, but also controlling his mind because it can access his memories somehow. Who cares? And it says, I'm going to kill you, Dave. And you're like, what? And it pulls its hand out of Mooney, who then immediately slams down. This mad credit to the Mooney actor. He fucking eats it for this scene.
He does, yeah.
And dude slams the blood off his arm, stands up, and this clown is so imposing. He's like 7 foot something and starts knocking everything out of his way without saying a fucking word. Just entire desks that would weigh 100 to 200 pounds, just sliding them across the room like they're fucking nothing while he approaches Dave to murder him. It's fucking wow.
Yeah, this is like the Hakeem Olajuwon of clowns.
But he puts up a pretty good fight, though. He does wind up finding his weak spot. He blows off his nose after, standing there like Tommy Vercetti from Vice City, just pose, bam.
Yeah, and it shoots off with a little puff of confetti, and that's how you get him. You don't even need Miak this time.
No, but they go out with that same swirl death, too, so they just reuse that as well for Ernst.
Yeah, that's true. It did tickle me every time one of them bit the dust because they just turned into that space dreidel. I'm just like, what?
Yes, space dreidel that sprays confetti.
Yeah, next thing we got that scene where you got one clown just wheeling up on his clown bicycle to this motorcycle bar, a bunch of bikers. Guy's like, let me take care of this. Hey, can I ride your bike? Can I beep your horn?
Look, growing up, we've all seen somebody get bullied so hard that somebody origamis their bicycle. It's fine. Just shit happens in the alleyway. Avoid it.
Well, he straight up knocks his block off. And by that, I mean, one punch, with the boxing gloves too. This isn't bare-fisted. He brings regulation gloves, and he puts his fucking head in the garbage can. That's what happens. That's brutal.
Absolutely, and not only do we as an audience think that's just like, holy shit, graphic, everybody around them turns from jovial jokesters to like, fuck, and they just fucking hightail it out of there.
It's just so entertaining. It's just fun. If you can't have fun with this movie, what can you have fun with?
You're not kidding. Just one more scene just to pick at because I loved it so much. Debbie gets taken home because they're like, Debbie, we don't want you to get hurt. The clowns come to get her, and they knock on the door, and they're using Mike's voice. So she runs away, and there's popcorn on the floor that got sprayed on her, and it's moving around, comes to life into these creepy monster things like Jack in the Box. She has to get away from those. Then she runs back in the room, and it's going to jump out of her second floor window. And when she does, the clowns are waiting outside with a trampoline.
Like they're the fucking fire department or something. Yeah, got these little, they're basically chompers from Super Mario Brothers, and they're just coming out from all over the place. This is a chaotic and incredibly fun scene.
It really is, but once more, it instills that very poignant horror element in this movie, because like she can't get away by any means. Like, even though stopping her way out is extremely goofy, you realize like, oh, she's absolutely fucked.
Her only escape is to die in some semi-comical way.
The next thing I have on my list is Clown Dragula.
I think it's super cute. The way it's designed, it's clearly a tiny little car, little clown car, and it's got all these things that they've created to put on to make it look even more ridiculous.
Yeah, they eventually end up at this the amusement park, the Crazy House, and that's where we end up in this movie. They have turned the Crazy House into their circus. That's where the flying saucer, or whatever you want to call it, is now. That's where everybody meets up for the end of this movie.
Well, since it's not a saucer, would it just be a flying circus?
Yes, a trapeze.
Or it's just the Monty Python fellas just hanging out, you know?
Oh, and it's only got one guard, and he's just chilling out front, and 9 fucking gigantic 7-foot-tall clowns get out of this tiny-ass clown car, and the scene is beautiful. They all pull out a whipped cream pie, and he's like, boys, what are you going to do with them pies?
And then badass 80s music ensues. Yeah,
and they just get absolutely leveled. Yeah, and the movie comes back to that as, I think, a gag, but it was also tremendously just, like, unsettling again, because they get leveled by all these pies, and there's just, like, a pile of them. Almost like he looks like an ice cream sundae. Like, he just got fucking destroyed. The gang rolls up on him. He's like, oh, wow, look, pie. And they're like, wait a minute, something's off. And, like, hard cut the skeleton arm in the pie. And just, like, no real reaction. They're like, yeah, we should go.
So the little itty-bitty clown, he puts a cherry on top, which I thought was perfect.
Oh, you're right. And when he did that, I just smiled. You know, it was just like, all right.
It's like every scene like can go a certain distance. You can go that distance and you're like, all right, that's funny. It's perfect. That's what this movie is.
I had that same experience just like in that one scene when they were getting out of the car, because like by this time I had been conditioned to the movie. Like, you know, I was along for the ride. So when the freaking clown car pulls up, I'm like, all right, how many is it going to be?
Yeah. Everybody rolls into this crazy house, and this is a fucking cool looking crazy house, isn't it? They got the fog machines rolling. It's turned on. This is like a high quality crazy house.
And it has a working popcorn maker.
Ooh, that's important.
They're so proud of it. It's like literally in front of the camera with everything else in the background.
I like how they have like the little knobs and gadgets that they can move around, and on the tops of all of them, it's like a ball pit ball.
Yes.
Yeah. Every time they had to like coerce their way through a door, and it's just like some hobnobbery on the side. You're just like, yeah, whatever they touch is bad.
So yeah, during this little, I don't know, adventure inside the crazy house, we end up losing the two guys. They get tossed off into a ball pit and start hitting on some definitely clown children. They are not of age.
Well, the movie heavily alludes to them just being absolutely just dunzo. Like, they got the ball pit, they're fucked. Don't worry about it. Focus on these three.
Did we mention that Debbie, we mentioned that she died a horrible death, but she didn't exactly die. She got trapped inside of a balloon?
Yep.
And rolled away. I don't know why she didn't get turned into a cotton candy cocoon like everyone else in this town, but she got taken away alive in a balloon.
You're right. She was in a cocoon. Did you notice the cocoons, by the way, guys? They're cocoons.
Next thing you know, and this is a great gag, they're looking through this cocoon room. They're looking, I don't know why they're looking through the cocoons when she's definitely in a balloon. But one of these clowns comes in and is like, I'm a little parched. I guess I should feed.
No.
I mean, this is like the intergalactic equivalent of waking up in the middle of the night and grabbing a handful of shredded cheese.
Yeah. Just rolls in and like he's testing each one like it's a watermelon or a coconut or something, and like he taps into one with a crazy straw.
He just treats these people like he's got barrels of booze aging.
This one's teriyaki style.
Ugh.
I don't know what's next. It doesn't matter.
Next is the big showdown. They save Debbie. They run through a bunch of really cool fucking prop gags with wavy walls, a fireman's pole, another door. They go through like 6 little bitty doors until they finally get into this room where they are
very Willy
surrounded.
Wonka.
Yes, very Willy Wonka.
By
And
the
they
way,
get
you guys like how they save Debbie and like completely disregard every other human that's in those balloons? There's a lot of balloons back there, and they're like, all right, we got the one that we know.
I just have a gut feeling that maybe, like, character-wise, she might have brought it up, like, well, what about everybody else? And then the cop's just like, they probably had it coming, let's go.
They were getting ready to get another guy, and he goes, what are you doing? Why are you leaving? He goes, your baggage, fall behind, you're on your own. And then the guy was just like, fuck it, and left him.
Oh, that makes absolute sense, because, you know, if you get too far behind that clown, he's gonna bleed you.
Real quiet, squeaky here. You got that?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Where's Billy?
You sound like Skeeter Valentine.
Oh, yes.
I can't even do that. No, not at all. I guess we're down to the boss fight at this point, right? Everybody gets cornered and they wait for something to happen. The boys in the ice cream truck roll in or like, hey, we're actually a killer clown space alien this whole time. You should let these guys go. And they're like, what?
It caused enough confusion where they didn't quite hurt themselves, but the leads got the run away.
Yeah, it bought them like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's plenty. Because, like, this whole time that they too are confused and they're like, what is this thing? And I'm like, buddy, that's the final boss. You gotta take care of this.
Yeah, and man, this guy is nasty, isn't he? This is like a menacing, imposing fucking clown.
It's so imposing that after the ice cream guys show back up and they're kind of like the heroes of the moment, the leads have a chance to get away and they're like, come on, fellas. And the guy's just like, no, who's going to pay off this truck? Or something like that.
It's a rental!
Yeah, even in that moment where the joke still lands, this fucking behemoth is just making his way very quietly towards the screen.
Like, yeah, get over here. We gonna clown around.
Oh, God. Clowny Dangerfield, stop it.
Yes. He fucking punches Sweet Tooth's head off and starts just fucking bangaranging the shit out of the front of the car.
And the way they supposedly die was actually fucking brutal, man. They explode, like, not just like kaboom, oh man, they got him. No, their ice cream truck turns into fucking particles, and you're like, oh!
Yeah, that becomes a bomb pop real quick.
Perfect.
They survive and walk out looking like a wonky fucking Raphael pop.
Oh, with like the squishy eye all sagging down from the melt.
Why are you looking at me all weird?
Yeah. So I don't even remember how this all resolves, but everybody ends up all right. Somebody like, is it the cop? The cop like pops his nose or something, and everybody ends up fine, right? There's some fireworks.
Yes, it wraps up pretty neatly. Like, I'm not even mad at it. Like,
no,
we've gone over movies that ended quite similarly, where it just kind of stops. But this one, I'll let pass because I think the cadence of the whole scene is what sells it. Because the cop, he remembers, hey, if you kill the nose, you kill the clown. So he uses his badge of justice that he tears off his chest and he just pops it like a bubble. And they're like, okay, that was a little too easy. And the whole thing goes up in this giant fireworks display. And you're just like, well, Captain went down with the ship. And then he falls out of the sky in a busted clown car like Indiana Jones fell out of a mushroom cloud. And he just steps out. He's like, oh, it was hot in there. It's like, what just happened?
Why'd it have to be clowns?
100%. It doesn't give you the breathing room of him having to explain himself or understanding the situation. Everybody high fives and the credits roll.
Yeah,
Mwah.
no, right after that, you get the two the Bobbsey twins, whatever you want to call them. They fall out and they're like, "We thought you were dead. Oh, we were hiding in the freezer with the ice cream. Anybody want a fudgy lickin' bar?"
Yeah. In any other movie, you'd be like, wait a minute, logic doesn't make sense here. But these guys are so damn
we don't
goofy.
care.
You're like, yeah, of course they did. In fact, they
Good
didn't
for
even go
them.
in the freezer. They just put a push pop in their ass, and that's how they survived. I don't care.
Why, by the way, was that one clown absolutely stocking up on Flintstones vitamins, by the way? Because he was. I don't know if you noticed when he was at that pharmaceutical place. It was all Flintstones vitamins and tampons.
Oh, even extraterrestrials aren't strangers to product placement, unfortunately.
5 million strong and growing.
Man, I've loved this since I was a kid. I've got nothing bad to say about this. There's so much talent in the creation of this movie, from my point of view. The soundtrack was amazing, and it sets in a bizarre, fun, ominous tone. All the way down to the imagination of the creators of the clown suits, their iconic faces, the emotive expressions, to the designs of the background sets used, the little gadgets the clown had. The sheer amount of direction the creators had to make a film so ridiculous, so good, is missed by me in this fucking current age of movies. 10 out of 10.
I know, Chandler, you haven't spoken your piece yet, but I can wholeheartedly surmise that, like, we all loved this movie. I absolutely did. This was such a pleasant surprise. Like, even the missus, who absolutely hates dredging through these movies with me sometimes, like, as soon as that balloon dog starts sniffing around, she was on board. She got it. It's just, this is a diamond in the rough. I really wish I got to this sooner. Thank you, Chandler, for putting this on the list, because like I had a blast. Everything about this is wonderful. It's so tongue-in-cheek and so self-aware. It absolutely works on every facet. I can't gush about this movie enough. I feel so shitty for like looking at the poster of this movie and being like, oh, whatever, it's some fuck-all B movie that I'll probably never get to. This was phenomenal. I can't wait to put it in my yearly rotation for Halloween. I can't recommend this enough.
Yeah, honestly, praise all around for this one. I think for years this was a slept-on classic, but it's finally starting to get the appreciation that it deserves. Everything in this movie is exactly what it aims for. The costumes, the makeup are immaculate. They are exactly what you want. The acting is spot on for what you want. They are trying, and they are succeeding. They understand the assignment. Absolutely. 10 out of 10 all around. Let's do more like this.
Well, there you have it. That was Killer Clowns, with a K no less, from outer space. If you have any strong feelings about the movie or the show, leave them in that comment section below.
Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Be sure to bash that little bell icon too, so you don't miss what we have brewing up next.
Get out there and follow us on social media. We're everywhere that you could look for us. We're on the YouTubes as well. You can find us anywhere podcasts are available. I mean, we're kind of funny sometimes. Give us a shot. Maybe you'll enjoy the taste of our fudgy wudgy lick sticks.